day of the college football season in 2025, the day that the college football playoff bracket actually takes shape. Miami and Ohio State. And who better to talk to about this game? The national title winner, Ohio State quarterback, Cardale Jones. How we doing, man?
Pretty good, guys. First and foremost, thanks for having me because I can't think of one better place other than maybe in Arlington, Texas, to really watch the game and really talk stuff and, you know, kind of dissect it a little bit.
100%. We're at DraftKings Sportsbook here in Scottsdale. I am Ryan Ribeiro, joined by Bryson Stricker. Cardale, I would have shook your hand again at the start of this, but you gave me potentially the firmest handshake I
That was so firm.
You almost broke my hand.
My apologies, but it's like that. You already see I'm ducked out in Ohio State gear. I'm getting game day is, kickoff is in less than 2.5 hours. I'm kind of getting my juices already flowing. So as we get closer to kick, guys, you guys might want to stay on that side of the couch.
Yeah, it's a shame because I can tell I already like you, but when you leave for the night, I'm not shaking your hand again. I'm sorry, dude. It's just
One of these.
brutal. Yeah,
One of these.
little fist bump. Yeah, no. But I love that. I have some confidence ahead of today. The big game, the biggest game so far of your season, your Ohio State Buckeyes season against the Miami Hurricanes in the college football quarterfinal. We're going to get into all these games, but to start, we have to start with the game that's happening today on New Year's Eve. Just general vibe, how are you feeling about this game heading into it tonight?
You know, I'm feeling good about it. And then when I say good, I mean good in the fact of seeing a good game because Miami was a team that I stood on the table for and advocated to get into this college football playoff system with, I know the last couple of weeks before the official rankings came out, was the Notre Dame drama back and forth, then a group of 4 teams, 2 of them getting in, and Duke winning the ACC championship. So it threw a lot of wrenches in kind of those final, I would say, 4 seedings, 8 through 12. And Miami was a team that I thought the last probably 4 or 5 games of the season has been playing probably the best out of anybody in the whole country. So I thought they deserved it in being here. Just so happened they match up with my Buckeyes. Now,
exactly. You
look at last week how they looked, and you look at the last time we saw the Buckeyes, it's going to be an interesting game.
I think it might be low scoring. It's going to be tough.
I do, and I can't wait till we get to the betting part of the show when we talk about some of this low scoring. Hopefully make some people some money, but 2 great defenses, 2 teams that's not familiar with each other.
Yeah.
And we're going to see how they kind of fill each other out through the first really half of the game and see how I'm more excited about the second half.
Yeah. Well, that was a professional segue because we are heading over to DraftKings right now and starting to take a look at this game. Bryson, show us what we got going on here. First of all, he's got to learn how to work a computer.
Yeah, they told me not to do that, and I did it.
Nice.
That's on me. Hands
Beautiful.
up.
Okay, so the big part of this entire game right now is the entire day Ohio State was 9.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
They are now 7.5-point
They dropped
favorites.
a few points, yeah.
Does that make you nervous at all for your Buckeyes, or you're still feeling good?
Nervous in the way of winning some money because I took it at 9.5 when it first came out. Yes, but winning the game overall, if I was just a guy betting on the money line, not really. I think 7.5 points is still a lot, especially in college football when you're talking about these 2 high-powered teams, especially what they both can do on defense. So 7.5, I thought the spread should have opened up really around 7.5 anyway, maybe 6.5 points. But coming out at 9.5 and dropping all the way down to 7, I kind of anticipated this.
I mean, I think you bring up a good point about the money line. The spread makes me nervous because this is a Miami defense that is get after you.
It's dominant. You see what they did last week, and at College Station versus a really good high-power A&M team with Marcel Reed led at quarterback and Casey Concepcion at receiver, and held those guys to a very low-scoring game in their stadium. Was, I think, one of the most impressive performance I've seen out of Miami this whole year. And then you look at Ohio State defense as well, pretty dominant as well. But I'm expecting a low-scoring game. I'm expecting a traditional heavyweight fight. And I think it's going to be decided within that spread.
So let's start building this thing out because we are building a college football playoff parlay for these 4 quarterfinal games. So what is a play that you like in this game that you're willing to just put in and be like, I'm not worrying about this. We're moving into the new year with a green check mark on our parlay.
With a green check, at least one green check mark on our parlay. I am loving the under at 40.5 points.
Ooh.
When you look at both teams over-under anticipation, I think Miami is right around 14.5 points, which I think is very realistic for them to come under that versus dominant Ohio State defense. And then you look at Ohio State offense versus Miami defense and what Miami defense was able to do to Texas A&M last week, I don't view Ohio State reaching their total team points over as well. So I think it plays right into that 40.5 under where we've seen a traditional low-scoring game and a game that's going to be, we're going to talk about this game here the next 6 hours about how great of a defensive performance it was.
Yeah, I think you look at this Ohio State team and everyone talks about the skill position players, right?
Yeah.
If, like, it makes sense. You got Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Julian Samuels balling out as a Heisman finalist. This Ohio State defense hasn't allowed more than 16 points in a football game all year.
Yeah.
And they're going up against a team in Miami who's got Carson Beck at quarterback. I'm not sure any one of us would be willing to be like, that guy's going to put up a ton of points. Would you?
You never know, man.
Yeah, Beck is streaky. He's
Beck
streaky.
been here, bro. Beck been here before.
He's been here before. He's streaky. He is a great product of some great Georgia teams where basically not having to do too much on the opposite side of the ball and putting the game in the hands of your defense. And I view this Miami defense and this team very similar, not as dominant as those national championship Georgia defenses, but when you look at what they just did last week,
For sure.
5 sacks, man, that is huge. And you look at the way Indiana played Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, they got their Julian Sand a lot as well. So we talked about those skill players, Jeremiah Smith, Cardale Tate. It's hard to get those guys the ball if your quarterback is always under duress. And I think this Miami front seven can do that to Ohio State.
I think Ohio State doesn't want to get in the mud with Miami. I think Texas A&M got in the mud with Miami last week and found out how that goes because I think Miami's a team where it's like you got a guy like Mark Fletcher Jr. going for 172 yards last week. Then all of a sudden the pressure's off a guy like Carson Beck and you don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, and that goes back to I think the last 4 weeks of the season. Carson Beck was completing over 80% of his passes and playing some of the best football of really his college career up until that point and really got them that final push to get into the college football playoffs. When this Miami team is healthy and rolling, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
But I can say they haven't played against a defense as dominant and as physical as Ohio State. But I can say the same thing about Ohio State on the offensive side of the ball. They haven't played against a defense as dominant, especially on that front seven, as Miami. So all of that theory and all of that ball I've been watching over the last 13 weeks of college football kind of plays into my theory of taking the 40.5 under.
Okay, Bryson, I mean, we're trying to build this thing together, too.
Yes.
Trying to make some money.
Exactly, 100%. Is there anything – I'm going to go look at the chat. Is there anything that you like in this game that could potentially battle it? I like the under.
I mean, I'm with the under. I agree. I'm honestly really curious about Cardale's take on, like, Julian Sand in this moment. Because 3 weeks ago, he was in a head-to-head battle for the Heisman.
Yeah.
He lost.
Yeah.
And did not play well, really, to be honest with you. And so I'm curious your take on, like, you got a freshman quarterback, a true freshman quarterback in the college football playoff. And a big stage, like, does that not concern you at all? I mean, that would be like, if you guys had Will Howard again, I would actually feel very confident going to win this game.
Yeah, well, Julian's a redshirt freshman, so he had a little bit of experience last year coming in some mop-up duties, but nothing clearly on this stage. But I look at the way, not necessarily his performance, but the things that Indiana, as we were referring to, was able to do to the Ohio State offense. They really made them, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but they made them be in a reactive type of stance versus an attack type of stance.
Right.
And I think that started with the front seven. Julian Sand went into that game, the offensive line went into that game only giving up 6 sacks all year up to that point. Well, Indiana walked away from the Big Ten championship game with 5 total sacks.
Right.
So one thing I said going into that game for Ohio State, for Indiana to win that game, they had to run the ball efficiently, which they did, and they had to make Julian Sand uncomfortable, which they did. I think that's the recipe for Miami, and they're going to go and try to follow that. And clearly they got the guys with Ruben Bain Jr. and then Akeem Messador who can make that truly a reality for Ohio State and kind of find themselves in the backfield all game.
Yeah. I do want to read some stuff from the chat here. We've got RobDog22 said OSU Miami under 21.5 first half total.
I agree with that.
What are your thoughts
too.
on that?
I like it. I'm a big fan of the totals in the first half, especially in the playoff systems, because you look at these games other than the 2 group of 5 matchups, the unders was a lot. For the most part, it's kind of a filling out process where you don't have too much familiarity with a team and a team that's usually just as good as you.
Right. Diets Jeffrey said OSU 41, Miami 17, OSU's defense plays its game, and the offense opens up the playbook for the first time this year and dominates. That is not the type of game you're thinking it's going to be.
You know what? I mean, very possible if you look at the skill players for Ohio State. But I think and then Ryan Day is back calling the plays full time this upcoming game, as reports came out earlier this week. But I'm not ready to disrespect that Miami defense, especially after their last outing. If I'm playing on what I saw from them last outing, and if I'm playing on what I saw from Ohio State. Now, as a fan, I want it to be 100-0 Ohio State Buckeyes.
100%.
But we're trying to make some money here.
Yeah. No.
So I'm trying to put off my bias to that and help everybody make some money.
I love that. I think we're good to go on the under 40.5 and get cooking on the rest of these things. I will say, for those of you who are betting this, go over to DraftKings because they have a 20% same-game profit boost for this football game. Miami, Ohio State, 20% same-game profit boost. Go over, opt in, bet it on DraftKings. You see it right there on the screen. It's the New Year's Eve CFB profit boost. Go over to DraftKings, opt in, and do that if you want to build a same-game parlay for this game. Before we move on to the other games, though, Cardale, we have a tweet that we got to bring up. Because
let's do it.
you tweeted about Miami a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I have the quote here. You said, man, I feel bad for the recruits going to Miami U for NIL. Bad staff, no stability within the program, and one of the worst college home game atmospheres. Chasing the money isn't always the answer, but good luck. At least you ended it nice.
Yeah, you know what?
And
that tweet actually came a few years back, and I resurfaced it this upcoming week because knowing clearly we're about to play these guys tonight.
Yeah.
But it was just my opinion on NIL. It was, and I think a little bit of the bitterness from myself with us Ohio State Buckeyes losing a few recruits to Miami and not understanding why, but maybe, NIL probably played a factor. But nevertheless, these guys are playing great at Miami, and so it worked out for these guys. But when you talk about the longevity and the recentgevity as well of the development at Ohio State versus development at Miami, or really a lot of the places around the country, it's not even close.
Right.
Usually you're seeing guys in the, we got 4 guys right now on the defense side of the ball projected, top 20 picks. I don't think it's too many schools around the country can say that. And then not to talk about the receivers and the quarterbacks recently of Ohio State. So I think it's ultimately a great place to go get developed, to have opportunity not just for NIL, but the longevity and the, I would say the really revenue that you can get at the next level versus the quick dollars in NIL and the college football level.
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys have been a pipeline to the NFL forever. You're going to have two top 10 picks in the NFL draft this year.
Yeah, potentially. But, a guy like Jeremiah Smith, it was reports coming out from GMs last year. He'd win number 1 last year.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I think that's just a testament of the development. And then I got to give credit to that coaching staff at Ohio State. It's not usually a lot of turnover there. So you have the ability to build those relationships with those coaches. They just extended Ryan Day this past year after winning a national title. So he's going to be there probably for at least another 10 years.
Yeah.
So all of those things plays into the development of a student athlete, hopefully giving them the best chance possible to have success at the next level, not just on the college level and a money grab and some of these NIL situations.
I will also say, while we're still on the topic of Miami, Ohio State, I asked you for your play. I realized I never gave mine. And I'm going to have to wear this the rest of the show.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Oh, my God. Cut.
That's insane.
We're winning the football game. We're winning the football game, Cardale. Come on, man.
God. You know what? I get it. We need that for viewers, but I know deep down in your heart you don't believe Miami is going to win this game.
Listen.
Ryan, it's okay.
Listen.
It's okay.
I'll say this. The Martians got the death beam pointed at Earth. Fate of the universe on the line. Give me Carson Beck. Come on. Give me Carson Beck. Give me Mark Fletcher Jr., actually. Just to hand the rock off the
I'll say this, Cardale. You don't know Ryan very well, obviously. This guy is obsessed with being the heel, and I'll say this.
But you gotta have
he
one.
He loves it. He like the fact
one.
that you're going to be all decked out in Ohio State is the reason he's wearing that.
It's always one. I didn't say anything about the jacket when I first walked in, and we mentioned earlier in the show that the firm handshake. It was because of the jacket.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Listen. We'll see. It's going to stink when I'm the only one in here. When Miami makes a big play, then I'm going to be chanting. I'm going to be hooting and hollering, and everyone else is going to be upset.
You know what? I'm all for a good game. Long as our under
true.
hit and long as our parlay hit to win some people some money, I'm all for a good game.
Man of the people.
I want to get an OH chant started today. I'm a big OH chant guy.
Oh, we should definitely.
I went to the Michigan-Ohio State game last year. getting the OH chant was that's incredible.
We're going to get it popping. We definitely going to get it popping. We're going to need a few more people in here. I think they're just waiting on a big game to kick off. Then we get some OH chants in here.
100%. We're watching Michigan right now. That's not the game that people are here for. They're here for OSU and Miami. Let's get to the rest of this college football playoff, though. 3 games tomorrow. Bryson, pull up DraftKings. The game I want to start with is Alabama and Indiana. It's one of the most bet games of this entire week. Indiana favored by 7 points. Again, we're building a parlay, so it doesn't have to be. We don't have to take Indiana -7.
Yeah.
We do the same thing. If you like Bama, we don't have to take the money line. Where are you leaning on this game?
You know what? This was another one where the under actually dropped. Over under actually dropped a little bit. I'm liking the under on this game as well because right now at the Rose Bowl, you're dealing with some potential elements. The field may not be the greatest. Alabama is a very one-conventional team right now with not having the ability to run the ball consistently. But I don't view Indiana just going out there and putting up a ton of points on these guys. But on the flip side, Alabama, you're going to be one-dimensional. You don't want to be passing dimensional versus Indiana back end, who's one of the best back ends of all of college football. I'm leaning more towards the under on this one as well. But if I had to stay away from the under, I'm taking Alabama to cover the spread in this game.
Can I tell you, I feel like I'm a little bit on the opposite. Only because, in the over-under at least.
Okay.
Because I feel like Alabama, and you were kind of alluding to this in terms of being one-dimensional, they have no running game.
No.
So I feel like that clock is just going to be constantly stopped. It depends on if Ty Simpson completes his passes or not. It's really
that's a good point. You have guys like Ryan Williams who dealt with some, dropping the ball issues. We know how big of a playmaker he is when he shows up. But lately, over the second half of the season, he has been having some inconsistency on catching the football. But you know what? Since we're going to be on the opposite end of the over-under, I'm going to take Bama to cover in this game. Indiana's going to win. I'm going to take Bama to cover. And actually, it dropped a little bit. I think it started off at 7.5.
It did, yeah.
So.
Can I ask how you feel about it? Because I think you do not like that pick. From our conversations.
I can get behind the cover. I think Indiana, if it was up to me, I'd take Indiana money line because I think Indiana's going to win. I went to the Oklahoma Bama game a couple weeks ago, and at one point I thought they were going to get run over, and I think Indiana will run over this Alabama team. They're just not good. I don't think they're good.
I wouldn't say they're not good. I just, again, when we're talking about Indiana's a very physical football team.
Yes.
You already have no running game.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure on one part of your offense.
For sure. That's that one-dimensional factor I talked about. But here's the kicker for me. Why I think Alabama is realistically can keep this thing close. I think they can win this game.
Okay.
The unknown for me is Indiana in this big-time situation. First time this program has been this highly recruited or highly ranked. All the expectations are there. Everybody already expected an Ohio State-Indiana rematch, a national championship game. What is this doing to the psyche of this team? No one in that locker room had been to a stage like this before.
Right.
Yeah, they went to the college football playoffs last year, lost to Notre Dame at home, but this was a completely different team. Brought in over 60 new guys to really revamp this team to what we see as today. So what are they going to be like emotionally and ready for this thing mentally when a team like Alabama historically has been in these situations year in and year out?
I think that's a good point. Also Fernando Mendoza, has had his Heisman year, but he was playing at Cal. He's not playing in the college football playoff. This is his first time.
Yeah, exactly. This is his first time there. I think this is Indiana first time ever in a Rose Bowl. And then Carsonetti is a great coach, clearly Coach of the Year. I think he won the Coach of the Year, definitely won the Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. But it's still this is where the air is rare, right? So you try to anticipate how your team is going to respond in certain situations, but you really don't know until you in those situations, those scenarios. So I think Alabama can cover the spread.
Another thing I have, the one hesitancy I have about Indiana, is this might be a horrible handicap, but it's when's the last time the Heisman winner did really well in the playoffs? It feels like a Heisman winner always falls apart, plays bad, loses, almost always.
Wow, I don't know. Travis Hunter last year, he wasn't there. Who was the year before? Jaden Daniels wasn't there.
Then Caleb Williams
wasn't there. Man, you got to go back pretty far, huh?
Forever. And even when they were there,
Joe Burrow is probably the last one.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's the last one.
Yeah, Joe.
It's even before Joe's Baker, when they lose, it's the
Baker, Kyler Murray, they both lost to Alabama, ironically.
Jalen Hurts lost.
Jalen Hurts, well, Jalen Hurts didn't win it, but he lost in the playoffs with it. Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Devontae
Yeah.
Smith was probably the one after that.
Not a quarterback, though. So it's like
Yeah, it wasn't a
entirely
quarterback.
different game.
Yeah, it wasn't a quarterback. But
Yeah.
he had a big game in the national championship because he played against my Buckeyes in Miami during the COVID year.
Yeah, yeah.
And he went for over 200.
Yeah, he smoked him. Low-key smoked him.
Yeah.
I will say the hesitancy that I have with Alabama, and I'm good to take this. I think they'll cover. I don't know if you saw the quote from Ty Simpson this week, but he was asked what his biggest feat of 2025 was, and his answer was building an Avengers Lego tower in 3 days. If you're the opposing team, and you just beat Oklahoma in the college football playoff, a Lego tower is your biggest feat?
You know what? One thing I can say about the athletes now versus when I played, it feels like ages ago. I mean, really almost a decade ago, is they are a lot more versatile in their off the field activities. If you'd asked me something like that 10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, I went 80% in 707 in practice the other day, or I played a good game.
Yeah.
These guys are way more versatile than we were when it comes to just their social media presence, to the gaming aspect of what they're doing, to the twitching and all the other things that these guys can do. So I'm not too shocked on that respond from a guy like that, but I think that's fuel to the fire. If I'm Indiana, this guy don't even take this stuff serious. Let's go get after him. So.
100%. I will say one more thing too about Bama. Back when you were playing, first year of the college football playoff, you beat them as 9.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Beating Saban, beating that team when the world thought they would win it all. What was that like?
You know what? Looking back, I think I appreciate a lot of those things looking back on it now and not knowing, understanding the underdogs and the points and the betting and all that stuff.
Right,
I mean, sports betting, clearly it was in college, wasn't going to do it. But it wasn't even a thing in Ohio at that time.
Right.
But looking back on it, it was great because we played a great team. We clearly played College Football Hall of Fame coach. And then all the guys that was on that staff as well who went on to do amazing things at their respective universities now. And then all the players as well. And it was like a home game for Alabama. It was down in the Sugar Bowl in the Superdome. And, it was a great experience. Two really tough teams, but with all due respect to that team, I know we beat them by 7. That game wasn't that close, though.
Yeah.
My question for you is, knowing now, would you believe, having been in that locker room, that you guys were 9.5-point underdogs? Like, how you felt about that game?
No, not at all. Even dating the game before that, going into the Big Ten championship game, being underdogs and beating the spread by over 60 points, beating Wisconsin 59-0. We were hitting our stride. Yeah, we did just lose our Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback, JT Barrett, and our leader, but everybody was playing so good at that time, and everybody was peaking at the right time. Everybody was having a peak, which you usually see from a young quarterback to the end of the season, right? Making young mistakes, then you start to see some flashes. I mean, we dealt with injuries up front and guys who was coming in, backups was coming in and really just picking up where guys left off at. And then our defense was playing lights out. I mean, when you got a guy like Joey Bosa, Tyvis Powell, Von Bell, Eli Apple, the list goes on, Curtis Grant on that back end, and you don't feel like you can do any wrong at the quarterback position because I turn the ball over or we don't score, hey, guess what? Our defense is going to go out there and stop that team anyway.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, you talk about, though, people, growing as the season goes on. You're thrown into one of the crazy situations ever at the end of the year. What's that like for you, being thrown into that situation? You're start the season as the third string, and then you're playing in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, you know what? It was fun because, you know what, all through the year, through practice and being on scout team and getting our defense ready to be in a situation to prepare each week for whatever team we was playing, I was practicing against the best guys in the country every day.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So I was ready for the situation. And then I tell people all the time, I was surrounded by, some great talent. I mean, guess what? If I can't hit a pass, I can turn the ball. I can turn around and hand the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, top 5 pick in the NFL draft at the time, who is running behind Taylor Decker, another top 10 pick in the NFL draft at the time, and still playing left tackle for the Detroit Lions. So the talent was there. I was surrounded by an unbelievable group of guys, and I think our coaches don't get as much credit as they deserve. A guy like Tom Herman, who was able to keep me poised and calm in those situations as I was thrust into the fire.
Yeah. We'll ask some more questions about your Ohio State days
For
in a little
sure.
bit.
Love it.
Let's get to the next game, though. Oregon, Texas Tech. This is, spread-wise, the closest game of the week. Oregon favored by 2.5. Just coming off a big win, big relative, I guess, against James Madison. Entirely different conversation. Texas Tech gets the bye. Who do you like in this game?
I'm loving Oregon -2. I love it. I love Oregon covering this situation. Texas Tech is a great defense, a dominant defense, a really good team. And I do give the edge to Texas Tech's defense in this situation, but Oregon defense is dominant as well.
Yeah.
And I think with the lack of firepower, I would say, from Texas Tech offense, that's why I'm giving the edge. And I usually, when I think about edges of a defense versus the offense, I usually edge them by 3 points. And knowing this spread is going to be -2,
yeah,
I love it. So I jumped all over this spread when it first came out, and I'm loving it to this point as well. And then another thing, too, was not talked about. Will Hamden was out for the season, backup quarterback for Texas Tech. Bear Morton has dealt with injuries all year.
Yes.
If he gets dinged up, and Will Hampton was
over.
very productive in the reps that he saw this year, he gets dinged up. This team, I take it back. It may be a Cardale Jones on the bench somewhere for Texas Tech. It may be. But thrust in that situation, I don't know. So I think Texas Tech game plan has to be a little different when you're attacking this Oregon defense, because you're down a quality backup who probably can be a starter for a lot of different teams around in college football.
Yeah, there's not that many of you lying around, and I think you know that.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, right?
Not that many of you.
Yeah, and then Oregon is getting healthy at the right time. Oregon and Miami was two teams I stood on the table for. When they got healthy at the right time, they can make some noise in the playoff system. Yeah. And here's their both of these weeks. Both of these next couple of days is a big test for both of these guys of really the health and the depth coming back a little bit and playing quality opponents.
Does any of this to you also just kind of like Dan Lanning talked all year about how they didn't run from playing good teams.
No.
Texas Tech, I wouldn't say they ran from playing good teams. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but their schedule is not nearly as strong as what Oregon had to go through to get to this point. Does any of that for you kind of like, Texas Tech looked great, but they weren't really playing that many top teams?
Yeah. Oh, Kansas.
Yeah. They played Kansas. Yeah. They marked that down as a W back in July.
You know what? I think that plays into a certain part of my decision making, because I think Oregon to this point is a little bit more battle tested than Oregon, and I continue to date it back to the Indiana-Ohio State game, where I thought Indiana had the edge because I thought they were more battle-tested than Ohio State leading into the Big Ten championship game. You look at Indiana going against Penn State. They beat Oregon in Oregon. Tough game versus Iowa. And then clearly I thought they had the more battle wounds and being ready for some of those situations, those fourth-quarter situations. I don't know how Texas Tech is going to respond in the fourth quarter when they're in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Oregon had to respond to those a few different opportunities throughout this season. I know Texas Tech dropped the game earlier in the year, but still, I got to give that edge to Oregon as well.
Okay.
Can I tell you something real quick, Cardale? I've never in my life laid minus points.
Yeah.
I never bet
He's not going to do
points.
it.
Really?
I just take the minus. Dude, I hate it because I hate the idea that, like, the team that you bet minus points does not care about your minus points. They just want to win.
They just want to win.
And so it's like they're down 2. They're going to kick a field goal, win by 1, and we're going to lose.
Yeah, I get that, and I think they're always the safest bet. Even when you have a team you think they're going to go to money line, is taking the points.
Yeah,
because you kind of get a double whammy there. That actually plays into my Alabama thought, because I do think Alabama is logistic. I think they can beat Indiana.
Yeah.
But I think taking the points is the safest bet, right? Especially when you build a parlay. But in this situation, I'm sorry.
No, I respect it.
Yeah, because of the things I think about when I talk about the edge. And then another big edge I think Oregon has over Texas Tech is the coaching as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dan Lanning is, a top
a very big
probably 3 coaches in all of college football right now. So I got to give it to them.
This guy, you've never met somebody who's more anti-Texas Tech than this guy. So you made his day.
They've been crushing those guys.
Yeah, that is true. You did get smoked.
Yeah, man. We made it close for a while, though.
Yeah, they made it close the first 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, until they kicked the ball off.
Yeah.
It was close until they kicked the ball off.
All right, let's get to this next game. So we got Oregon minus, what is it, minus 2.5 right now?
Minus 2.5.
All right, minus 2.5. Last one, big one. We have strong opinions about this game, so I'm curious.
Here we go.
What yours is. Georgia, Ole Miss. Georgia favored by 6.5, minus 245 in the money line, but Ole Miss riding that high of the Lane Kiffin departure, little chip on their shoulder. What are your thoughts?
This has been the headache that I've been having on picking something from this game. And if it was something I was able to pick, I'm going to go with the first half under in this game. And I'm not for sure. I forgot what it is, but I'm going with the first half under. When you look at this, Georgia, it is hard to beat a team twice.
Yeah.
Georgia already got one up over Ole Miss earlier this season. But Georgia, ever since the second half of the Alabama game, when they lost in Athens earlier this season, they have been on a tear, Gunnar Stockton has been playing really good, been protecting the football, and he's a true +1 in the running game, and that defense continue to get better. Now, these teams do know each other really well. I'm going to take the under on the first half under on these points, but I wouldn't be scared to take Georgia to cover. And the reason is because Lane Kiffin's not there.
Yeah.
And it goes back to my coaching aspect as well. I got to go with a guy who's been there before, Kirby Smart, going against a guy who's kind of in an intern position, a transition position, right?
Yeah.
What is his thoughts on really trying to get through this game? Clearly, he want to win this game, but he got other things down the road he looked for going to LSU here in about 2 weeks, or really about 2 days if they lose this game.
Right.
So I wouldn't be scared to take the -6.5 Georgia, but I do like the first half under.
This makes a little more sense. You sat down on this couch when you first got here, and you asked us, like, you know, is it cool if we do, like, first half unders and all this? And I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, because
here we are.
Teams, both teams know each other so well.
Yeah.
And you know, then they played each other really well the first game of the season they played. And so I think it's going to be a lot of, you know, what do you got new for me type of feel in the first half before they have opportunity to go into the second half. And I think Georgia is probably the best second half team, and Kirby Smart and that staff is the best adjustment team in all of college football. So I like the first half under, but I wouldn't be scared, like I said, to take the -6.5 Georgia.
I think it's interesting, too, that you say this, because the last game they played was a barn burner. It's 43-35.
Yeah, but I think it's more so of like they both are going to adjust to so much of – both of those games, giving up that many points by both sides, that was uncharacteristic about both of these guys.
Right.
Right? But it's like, I guarantee you they did some self-scouting on that game, and they're going to come out and be prepared for a lot of things they did in that first. So that plays into my logic of taking the first half under, of kind of a filling out game, because, hey, we're going to be ready for that double reverse. We're going to be ready for the things that gashed us in that first game.
Yeah.
So I think that's my logic, clearly, on the first half under.
What's the – it's 27.5?
27.5.
I like it.
I like that.
I like it.
I think we nailed it.
And 2 field goals.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like the first half under.
Yeah. By the way, I teased to you before that him and I have strong takes on this game, both very much like Ole Miss to cover. So I'm glad that we're
When did
settling
I say
up.
that?
You said
Well,
that
you
before.
never gonna
We
take
never
minus
had that
points.
conversation.
Yeah. You said that before. Did
No,
you
I
not?
did not.
I was lied
I
to.
think
I did not say that. I said Ole Miss team total under 24.5. No way they scored 25 points.
Oh, wow.
No way.
So
More problems.
I think this is going to be the best game atmosphere of all the games.
Yeah. For
sure.
It's a home game for both these guys.
Yeah.
100%.
This is going to be sick.
Yeah.
You know, so I like it, though, man. This is be good.
I'm curious your take, Cardale, because honestly, the real problem I go into with this is that, like, with college sports, I feel like the outside variables play a bigger role than they do in professional sports. And like a
100%.
of 18 to 23, 24-year-olds losing their head coach, all the drama that went on with losing their head coach.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like that massively affects them. Whether they want to say, "Oh, we're locked in this or the other," it's like half these kids are going to be going to LSU after.
Yeah, and I think it puts a wrench in things because it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of vibe you will probably get from a team that's having this mentality, especially clearly from the coaches. The coaches, I think he's taken 6 coaches with him into that situation. But at the end of the day, these guys still want to win a national championship. Let's not get that twisted. They're not saying, hey, this season's a wash, let's go play at LSU next year. They're still trying to win a national championship. But unfortunately, some of that stuff plays into the mentals of preparing for a game. And then, like I said, the biggest deciding factor is going to be the simple fact of you don't have your head guy there who's going to be able to coach you better in those adjustment situations.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Also, I'm just going to let you know, if his mood changes for the next 10 minutes.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Bryson had Michigan plus the points, and we just watched Arch Manning run for a 50-yard touchdown.
That's what you get for never taking a minus.
No, yeah.
They still can cover.
Like you're betting on Michigan.
5 minutes.
You're an Ohio State guy, though. Are you rooting for that?
You know what? I wouldn't say I'm rooting for Michigan. I love to see the Big Ten do well in bowl season because it's an opportunity to see other good on good, even though these teams played each other, I think, 3 times in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But I would love to see the Big Ten just continue to smoke the SEC in bowl season to make those off-season conversations even that much better.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, we sourced a ton of questions for you from our audience, which we'll ask. But before we get to that, we do have to remind the people what this parlay is. So the college football playoff quarterfinal parlay, we have Ohio State and Miami under 40.5. We've got Alabama +7, Oregon -2.5, and under 27.5 for the first half total in Ole Miss, Georgia. What are those odds? Did I see 13-1?
You did 12. That's a 12.
12-1. 12-1. It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
12-1. I like that.
I like it a lot, guys. I like it a lot. And actually, I don't know if before we have opportunity to get down the show, this parlay is going in for me.
Yeah, 100%.
So I like it.
The second the show
who am I not
ends.
to tell this guy?
Yeah, the 100%. Yeah, you came in with reasoning. I love it. I love it. Okay, so people in the chat, keep asking more questions, but we do have some audience questions from you. And the first one, we have a tweet that we want to pull up. Potentially the most viral tweet you've ever pressed send on.
It's up there.
Yes. You wanted to correct everybody when the report came out that you beat a kid in the hospital at NCAA 91-35. You said 98-35.
Yeah, give me my points. Give me my credit. Hey, I needed to cover that spread, so that last touchdown was much needed at that point. No, and ironically, it was versus I was playing Ohio State. The kid Jared at the time was playing with Georgia. He's a big Georgia fan.
Okay.
So the last couple of years, clearly Jared got bragging rights over me because Georgia beat us in the college football playoffs, and they've been on top of college football the last couple of years up until the Buckeyes kind of reclaimed that spot. But yeah, and the story is so funny because, I go into a Nationwide Children's Hospital, and it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, and we start talking, conversating, and, he actually played a game, and I'm a big gamer.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to have open heart surgery the following morning, so his whole family is in there. So we hanging out, and we're getting ready to play, and I look over at his family like, hey, guys, do you expect to want me to let him win? And they like, oh, no, he know how to play. He's good. He's good. So I'm like, whatever, we'll see. He taking the opening kickoff to the house on me. So now
you went down 7-0.
Oh, yeah. So his family like, I told you. Then I was like, okay, here we go.
So at any point when he took that back.
Stood up and cheered.
Yeah. No, not sit up. I stood up.
Yeah.
I stood up. The whole game, I stood up. Let me show you guys how I roll. I'm like, I don't even play Xbox, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So about my third drive, I got on fire. It was over.
So when he returned that kickoff, are you thinking like, oh man, I can't lose to this kid, especially if I'm trying?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I'm like, and he don't get me wrong, I was trying to tackle it, and like he was pulling out some moves. I'm like, okay, I see what I'm dealing with here.
At what point did it become about getting to 100 for you?
It got there pretty fast because I saw a defense he couldn't handle, so I ran it the whole game. So it was basically blitz 0 with a free hitter, and sometimes 2 free hitters.
Yeah.
So it burnt me a few times. Clearly, he got 35 points, but the risk reward was there for me that night.
Yeah, 35 points ain't too bad when you put up 98. I'll tell you. I'll tell you that much. At any point were you like, I gotta call the dogs off?
No, I was calling timeouts.
Yeah.
Late in the game, I was calling timeouts, trying to get that last score. And at that time, it was the last version of the NCAA before this new version just came back up with 25 being a kind of inaugural season. And I was on that game. I was a freshman. I was on that game. So I put myself in. I played. I had the best stats ever. I had the best stats ever.
I love it.
That is sick. You said you're a big gamer. You still nasty or no?
I'm still pretty good, man. I still play NCAA, Madden, and Call of Duty. Those are 3 things I play 24/7.
I love that.
He's horrible at NCAA.
That's not true.
Horrible.
You know what it is? I run a very conservative game. I hand the ball off and I try and play defense. And
Okay,
I can't
so
throw.
you don't enjoy the game.
No.
You just can't throw.
If I win 9-6. That's what I say. That's what I say. They don't enjoy playing, but it is what it is. I win.
Yeah.
Another tweet from you, not to make this a whole Cardale's old tweet segment.
Jumping in the Cardale tweet closet.
Yeah. That's just what we did. We stayed up last night. And we're like, what are his old tweets? No, you tweeted about play school. We didn't come here to play school.
Yeah. I think that was my best tweet, most viral tweet. I think that was. That was funny. I mean. Dating back to young Cardale, 18-year-old, as a freshman on an Ohio State campus in Columbus, Ohio. What's a filter? I had no filter.
No,
I had no filter. And it was funny because I make the argument all the time, jokingly, that I'm like, hey, I blew up Twitter, now known as X. I'm like, I blew it up.
Yeah.
I remember I tweeted that, and it went viral. And I got in so much trouble from our coaching staff. And the trouble came from the fact of it was taking light off what we was getting ready to do. We was getting ready to play Nebraska. Nebraska's first year in the Big Ten.
Right.
Top 10 or 15 matchup at the time. Night game at the shoe. All these stories. And then what dominated that was a freaking 5th, 6th string quarterback at the time making some comments on social media. I remember the next following days, where it's picked up by the news outlets and everybody was talking about it, and literally a freaking analyst or anchor from like Fox Sports, like, a student athlete at Ohio State took his thoughts to Twitter, and like she was explaining what Twitter was.
Yeah.
She's like, if you don't know what Twitter is, a social media platform where you can Twitter out your opinion in 130 characters or less. Like, she was explaining what Twitter was.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the first thing that kind of I remember from Twitter going viral, talked about on Good Morning America, ESPN, everywhere.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, I blew up Twitter.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was a young and dumb tweet, to say the least.
But now that's not really that much of a controversial take. You got guys going to school for NIL.
Yeah, you know what? It's not. And then I look over the last couple of years of student athletes making very similar comments.
Yeah.
And one that sticks out right now is Josh Rosen, quarterback at UCLA at the time. I think he went top 5 pick to the Arizona Cardinals, ironically, a few years back. And he made a comment about school and things like that. And I can't paraphrase it, but it was very similar on the lines of what I said. But you look at the way college football and college athletics has changed so much now. You do beg to offer now, beg to differ now, what's the number one goal of going to these universities, because now you don't have to just deal with education. Now a lot of these guys are getting a boatload of money coming out of high school, including the transfer portal.
But do you look at that stuff now, like the Rosen comment or some of these guys now, and you're like, what the hell, man? I was getting in trouble for this, and now now it's getting celebrated.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's funny because I think a lot of guys are learning from my mistakes, because if I'm not mistaken, that tweet is still in a college textbook, basically social media conduct and what not to do.
Yeah.
And what not to say. And I'm just happy that was one of the tweets that made headlines versus some of the other things I would say on social media at times, especially after, a bad practice or something like that.
Right. You did mention that you got in trouble with the coaching staff. You get called into Urban Meyer's office. Like,
yes.
What is that conversation like?
Okay, guys, like the worst part about the whole thing is when I got called into Urban Meyer's office, and this is a true story 100%, I thought that they were telling me I was about to start. So I make the tweet. The origin of why I made the tweet, I just got a B+ on exam, and we was in quarter systems back then.
Yeah.
So, it used to happen fast.
Right.
Midterms was a week and a half.
Yeah.
As soon as you start the school, as soon as you start the year. And I got a B+, and the B came because, I identified that one of the grading things was an error, and I should have got credit for it.
Right.
But I couldn't dispute it yet because I had to go to another class, and I made the tweet.
Yeah.
So the tweet goes viral very fast. The coaches I didn't even have Coach Meyer's number at the time.
Yeah.
So this number, the 614 number, is blowing me up, and I finally answered. He said, "Get over to the stadium, like right now." I'm like, "Hey, I got another class." He's like, "No, don't worry about that." So I'm like, "Oh."
Furthering your point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need to go to class. I'm the starter now."
Yeah.
I walk into that office. It's Coach Meyer, my offensive coordinator, Tom Herman, my academic advisor, Pierre at the time, the AD, the president of school, and the dean. Everybody's there because this thing it was a wildfire.
Right.
And I'm on cloud 9. I actually already talked to a few of my family members. Hey, make sure you guys at the game this week. I think I'm starting.
That's bizarre.
I'm the man. Guys, I'm the man. The game, this is like a Thursday or a Wednesday. I'm the man, guys. Make sure you're there tomorrow.
Yeah, 18, 19 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, looking back on it, I was so stupid because, I was on scout team. I had no clue what the game plan would have been.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm starting. For sure I'm like, that one pass I threw earlier in the week, he must think I can start now.
Yeah.
We're all good. Pierre, my academic advisor, he tried to cover for me. So as I walk into the room, he's the first person that I see, and everybody else is pretty much behind him. He says, "Hey, Cardale, I was telling the coaches and stuff that, your girlfriend just broke up with you, and she hacked your phone, and she was tweeting that stuff out earlier." So I'm just
that's the boy.
"Oh, no, that was me. What's up?" And the look Pierre gave me, you just got me probably fired.
Yeah.
Look. And he must have already had that conversation with our position coach, Tom Herman, at the time. And he just throws his paper oh, my God, this idiot don't even follow along with the story. And I'm just like, oh. And I wanted to say so bad, so I'm not starting? Not only did I not start, he's like, okay, you're suspended.
Yeah.
You don't have tickets for the rest of the year. And, like, we will handle this after the Nebraska game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I got to call my family back like, hey, guys, I'm not actually starting. And I also don't have tickets for you guys. I also don't have tickets for you guys.
The tickets I told you to buy, don't do that.
Yeah, don't come to the game probably for the rest of the year. I'm actually probably come pick me up. They probably might kick me out of school, actually. So that was the whole origin of the aftermath behind that tweet.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
I do have to ask quickly, do you have like a best Urban Meyer story for us? One that sticks out.
One that sticks out. He used to do this thing, and this is when I thought Joe Burrow was a psychopath. And with all due respect, I spent 1 year with him at Ohio State his freshman year. Urban Meyer used to do this thing, and it's more so of a Joe Burrow story than an Urban Meyer story. He used to do this thing with the young players where he would just rattle you. Yeah. So he would walk in our meeting rooms, and he wouldn't ask the older guys. We've been in the system 3-4 years at the time. He'd ask Joe or one of the other young quarterbacks. I'm sure he was doing it with Dwayne Haskins too. Like, hey, on Sam Munder, if it's 3 weeks, what do you got? Where do you go with the ball? What is the string come? And like, as a young player, you're trying to process. You're like, okay, Sam Munder, okay, 3 ball, and you're doing that in your head. Like, go, what do you got? What do you got? Spit it out, spit it out, spit it out. Like, and you're flustered. Like you're so flustered, right? And that used to get you. You make you feel this big, right? And he's doing it intentionally. And Joe had the last rep of a walkthrough before we started practice. Misread, he threw the ball basically where he should have threw the ball. Urban Meyer unloaded on him, like like everybody stopped and looked like, what's going on over there? Yeah. But that was just his tactics of really getting you ready for these situations. Right. And when I say Joe did not have one facial response or react to this, it was like the scariest thing ever. Like it was like he was like, okay. Gotcha. Like, I'm bobbling. I'm trying to explain why did I do that, and like Joe, like, okay. And me and JT Brett looked at each other like this. Yeah. He may be crazy. Like, so it was more so of a Joe story, but Urban, you do a really good job of really getting under a young guy's skin and just having you so baffled and just tripping over your words and really trying to help you build some confidence. So ultimately, that stuff leads into the playing field.
That's a great story. That's why they call him Joe Cool.
At 100%. Yes. That dude do not get rattled. Yeah.
Okay, we do have to talk about futures for the college football playoff, and then we'll get out of here.
Nice.
I assume you're Ohio State to win it all.
You know what? I think Ohio State is one of the 3 teams that potentially can win it all.
I got to hold your feet to the fire on this one. You got to pick one. Who is it?
Saying that we can get past Miami today, saying that Georgia get past Ole Miss, that's going to be the toughest matchup for Ohio State. Ohio State, Georgia. But I think I got to get an edge to Ohio State. So, yes, I got Ohio State to win it.
Plus 190, you see it right there. The way the rest of this thing shapes out, Indiana plus 320, Georgia plus 475, Oregon plus 750. Who were your other 2 teams by any chance?
Oregon and Georgia.
Okay. Oregon, I assume, because of the path.
Yes.
Okay. I will have to ask you, are you willing to guarantee that Ohio State wins the national?
Oh, man. Okay.
I'm just going to keep pushing this thing farther until you tell me to stop.
Exactly, man. I mean, especially guarantees is so many obstacles that can happen to
100%.
I can say that right now and in 3 hours like a fool.
Yeah. I'll say this, Cardale, the more you talk, the better I feel about this. He's not willing to guarantee it. He's decked out. He's not willing to guarantee it.
I'm not going to sit here and be biased.
All right, fair enough.
Because I'm trying to win some people some money.
That's it. That's a good point.
I'm not going to be biased.
That's a good point.
I'll stamp it.
You'll stamp it.
I'll stamp it. Ohio State wins the national championship.
I'm going to take one step further. Get ready for this. So, the beginning of every NFL season, we have Chad Ochocinco on our NFL show.
Nice.
And he guarantees the Bengals to win the Super Bowl every year. He's wrong.
They haven't won.
I mean, how many drinks until he does that? Like, do you got in the beginning of the show before?
It's the morning. It's the morning.
So he's hungover.
Probably.
Okay. I get it.
Smells like cigars.
I understand.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of party.
A big fan of Chad Ochocinco.
Incredible guy. Yeah. But cannot pick a Super Bowl winner for the life of him.
Yes.
And every time we ask him, what are you willing to guarantee? The things he has given up: sex for a year.
Oh my God.
McDonald's for a year. and not showering for a year, are you willing to go to any of the not his places? But is there something you're willing to guarantee?
I am willing to. If they don't,
yes.
So I got to give up something.
Got to give up something.
That's tough. I'm willing to give up Chipotle for a year.
Okay.
That's a good deal.
Give up Chipotle for a year.
How often do you go to Chipotle?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. And I think I'm more so willing to do that because two things. Fitness journey starting tomorrow.
Okay.
And then also I love it so much. So, but I'm like 3-4 times a week.
Oh, I love that. I'm like a once a week at least, twice sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like 3-4 times.
What do you get? What's your order?
Oh, so it depends. So if I'm driving, I drive a lot for work. I'm a burrito guy, but it's pretty much the same thing I get in a bowl. So I usually get a bowl, white rice, double chicken. Can't miss out on protein. Chips and queso, pico, corn, sour cream cheese.
Solid.
Love that.
That new like spicy red
The
sauce.
red chimichurri? Yes.
Pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
I can't do that. Can't do sour cream. I'm out on that. I can't do
No
it.
further comment about Ryan.
Yeah.
That's all. I can say something, but I can't say it on this airwaves.
As the show like started, like my liking meter for Ryan
Ryan's
continued.
stock dipping.
Like it didn't dip as hard as the Miami chain, but like no sour cream on Chipotle, it just nosedive.
And wait till
Once we're off the airwaves, I'll tell you why he doesn't like sour.
Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards. But wait till kickoff, and then it's just my stock is gonna be at 0. Dude.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay, this was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
We have games to watch, and we have the game to watch. So appreciate everyone who was in the YouTube chat, in the BR app chat, everyone who jumped in and watched this. This was a blast. For Bryson Stricker, for Cardale Jones, I am Ryan Ribeiro. We will catch you next time, Cardale. No handshakes for you, man.
No.
Fist bump.
No. Actually, you get an elbow. You get an elbow.
Elbow.
No,
There we go.
No. You've been waiting to do this. OH.
IO.
There we go. We do that.
I love OH, man.
We'll see you next time. Peace.